Hey guys, welcome back to Backyard Bassin. Today we're going to go over pegging and not pegging and a couple tips with it. So, first off, we're going to talk about what hooks I peg with. This is the Trokar. This is a 4/0. This is one that I pretty much, I would say probably 99% of the time I peg with this, just due to the hookup ratio. When you're throwing this thing on doesn't matter if it's a creature bait or crawl or anything like that. The purpose of this flipping hook, I'll show you here. Put this on the line and I'll kind of show you what's going on. Put my hook or my weight on here. And this is just a 1/4 ounce tungsten, but I use a snell knot on these, and I'll show you the purpose and why I do that. The snell knot actually goes through. If you got the hook this way, you want to go through it this way. And I'll show you the reason being here. Get up here. So, when you have your weight and you're using a flipping hook, this right here is the purpose you use this. You can see this right here. When I pull down on that, it constantly flips that hook right up. So it gets them right in the roof of the mouth. This does help you out a lot for hookup ratios. A lot of times I'm using the flipping hook, I'm usually throwing in the grass, I'm usually throwing around brush piles, stuff like that. It does help out a lot, I'm telling you. So, we're going to go over why I'm pegging this. And I'll kind of show you, I'll walk you through here and show you how I peg this. These are the bobber stops here that I peg with. So you can see that right there. Got to focus in on that. Let's see here. I guess it's not going to focus real well. Anyway, you get the idea there. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these off. There's I think there's about 15 or 20 every time you buy these. They're pretty inexpensive, maybe $2 or $3 for maybe a 2 or 3 pack of them. So, just put your line through the little loop that they provide you there, and then you're going to grab that bobber stop and pinch it, and then pull it, and it'll pull right onto your line. You can see that right there. So, now slide that up, hold on your line, slide that up. Then you're going to put your weight on. We'll use a little 1/2 ounce tungsten here, show you a little bit easier to see. So we're going to feed your line through there, and then you're going to take your flipping hook, and like I said, make sure you're going to the open end of the hook. You're going this way through there. If you do it the other way, it's not going to work right. It's going to flip. It's actually going to flip the hook backwards, you know, like this, to where it's going to be away from the roof of the mouth. So, just pull that through there. You're going to try to tie a little snell knot. Give me just a second here, I'll tie that. Make sure you always wet your line down before you cinch anything. So, there, get that cinch there. Clip this off. Okay, so there you go. So, as I was saying earlier, you can see, even when that hook's hanging there, it's already kind of, facing up like that. But the more pressure, when you pull on that line, it's really going to put that hook up. So if you can see that there. Every time I pull that line, that's where it goes. So it puts it up into the roof of their mouth, which works very, very well. Alright, so I'll slide my bobber stop down all the way to the bottom. Now, I don't want to slide it down to where it's tight and it's holding the hook this way. I just want it just down far enough to where it stays straight, just like that. So I'm not pushing down on that hook like that, see? So we want it to come back straight every time. Okay, now for my bait here, I'm going to use this as just a missile bomb, or a missile D-bomb, sorry. I'm going to slide it through the top here, turn it around, and I'm actually going to hook this in there, and I don't want to go all the way through. So if you can see that right there, I don't go through the plastic. You want to leave that in the plastic. When you do a hook set, you will not have a problem getting that hook to go through that plastic. And this will keep you from getting hung up a lot too, especially in grass or little small limbs and stuff that you're throwing over laydowns. That works very, very well. Now, the whole reason I'm going to peg this, one, if I'm fishing grass mats. If you're fishing a grass mat and you don't peg your weight, what happens is you go in there and you throw your bait in there, and what happens is this isn't pegged, this weight goes down like that, and then this bait is still stuck up at the top. Your bass, I'm not going to say you won't catch a bass right on top, but 90% of the time that bait is just going to stay on top of the grass and nothing's going to notice it there. But your weight is going to be all the way down in the grass and you're going to get hung up a lot. So if you peg this, like we did, and you throw it in there, now what's going to happen is this bait is going to go in there, and you can see that weight's not going anywhere. So it drags that bait down through that grass. And a lot of times that's when you're going to get your big hits. As soon as it gets into that grass and goes down a foot or two, maybe a little bit more than that, depending on how deep you're fishing, that's when those bass are going to grab them. Another reason for me pegging is if I'm flipping or throwing into brush piles, beaver dams, stuff like that that's got a lot of limbs laying around. This thing will actually go and keeps it as one. So when you're coming over a limb, this whole thing's coming together. Alright? If you throw it without a peg, this is what happens. Throw it like this. You throw it in there, and you come over to the first limb and look. That weight drops down, but your bait's over here. So now you're hanging on both sides of that limb. And a lot of times what happens is that thing goes like this and just starts twisting around. Well, now you're stuck. You can't go nowhere. So you get hung up a lot. So that's another reason I peg. If you're throwing over them limbs, that comes over nice and easy as one piece, and everything comes through really good. Let's see here. Okay. Now we're going to go to why I don't peg sometimes. If I'm fishing a little bit more open water, ponds in particular, ponds are notorious for having usually a mud bank or a little laydowns here and there. It's nothing major most of the time. So you get finicky fish. You'll feel them come up, you'll feel them tap it, kind of like a bluegill hitting. They just kind of tap, 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 tap. What they're doing is they're coming up and they're grabbing that, and they're feeling this weight if you have it pegged. So they're picking that up, it's too much for them, they can feel it, so they just spit it right back out. What I do is I'll leave this unpegged. So a lot of times what happens, they'll come up, they'll suck this up, and that weight actually stays on the bottom, and they run off with this. So they never feel that weight, so it's just sitting there, and it just that line moves freely all the way through that weight. So you'll get a lot better bites that way. They pick it up, they don't drop it as much, so that's when I'm not going to peg. That is probably about the only time that I do not peg. I would say 95% of the time I am pegging my weights. I know there's a lot of guys out there that believe, oh, they're pegging their weights, they're going to feel it too much, you're not going to get as many bites. Now this is just my opinion, this is not a fact at all. I believe I get just as many bites having the weight pegged as I do unpegged. The only time I ever do that, like I said, is when the fish are very finicky and I can feel them picking it up, and I know I got the right bait and the right color because they're biting it a bunch, but they're just not holding on to it. That's when I'm not going to peg. That is the only time. So, one of the other advantages to pegging, especially if you're a little bit newer into fishing, is when you peg, you have a lot better feel for this bait when it's going over stuff and through stuff. Being that weight's going to stay down there, it's not falling freely everywhere and rolling around on the bottom or rolling around in rocks and stuff like that. You're going to feel a lot more of this. And I do think using the tungsten makes it even better, because you can feel so much more with tungsten over the lead. So that's something you need to give a try. Like I said, try pegging everything, try fishing it for a couple days, see if you like it, see if you get, if you just go out there and you're just not getting as many bites, unpeg it. It's not a big deal. But I would definitely suggest trying it. You're going to save yourself some baits and save yourself some hooks and money by not getting hung up on all that stuff. So until next time, see you guys later. Thanks.